welcome to Wellness in Bloom. It's Priscilla. I just wanted to say welcome to the team. I'm so happy to have you. I cannot wait to be working with you, and I am really looking forward to helping you achieve your goals together. Okay, so here's a little informational video. I wanted to make sure you have a good baseline knowledge of what are macros. Since we're going to be talking about them, I'm going to be asking you to hit certain numbers. Let's make sure we have a good understanding of what the 3 macronutrients are. Number 1, protein. Protein carries 4 calories per gram of protein. So if you ate a meal, you had 30 grams of protein in it, that would be 120 calories came from protein for that meal. What does protein do for you? Helps to keep you fuller longer, aids in muscle growth and recovery. It's very important for the health of your hair, your nails. It does burn more calories as it's being digested. It can increase your metabolism. And let's see, where can you find protein in your diet? What are some really good sources? Lots of times people have trouble hitting these numbers for protein more so than any of the other macronutrients. So sources are really important. Let's think about meats. You have beef, chicken, lamb, then you have seafood, lots of fishes, shrimp, scallops, salmon, stuff like that. Next up, another source would be dairy, Greek yogurt, cheese, cottage cheese. What else? I have a list over here. And then you have got things like deli meats, jerky, some other sources. If you're trying to veer away from the meat sources, you got beans, legumes, lentils, and then also tempeh, tofu, and then people supplement with protein powder and bars. Next up, number 2, we have fat. Fat is a little bit denser in its calorie weight. So fat carries 9 calories, 9 per gram of fat. So if you ate a meal, it had 20 grams of fat in it. That would be 180 calories for that meal came from fat. So what does fat do for you? Why is it important? Fat is very important for your hormone health. It's essential, actually. So it helps in the creation of your cell membranes. It is very important to your nervous system, and it's also an energy source. So where can you find fat? Where do you think most of the fat comes from in your diet? A lot of people don't realize how much fat, and then also how many calories, obviously that goes together, is in oil. So they don't really think. They're like, oh, I just have the salad dressing and I'm gonna drizzle it on here. Well, 20 grams of fat later, not really, but close to it, it could. You have a lot of fat in your diet. So I'm not saying that's bad. It's just going to be the acknowledgement of how much fat is in what you're consuming. So fat source is obviously straight up oils. You've got avocado oil, olive oil, lots of cooking oils, canola oil. Fried foods have a lot of fat in them, or are made up of a lot of fat. So, and then other sources that are high would be a lot of meat sources have high fat content. So beef, pork, lamb, dark meats, even like rotisserie chicken can still have fat in it, even though, the dark parts of the meat can. And then you've got things like coconut and avocado, like a fruit or a vegetable that's got fat. And then you have lots of dairy products, full fat dairy, butter, and cheese. All great. That is amazing. Those are just some sources of it. And then next up, finally, we have carbohydrates, number 3. Carbohydrates carry 4 calories per gram. So if you ate a meal that had 100 grams of carbohydrates in it, it's a really good meal, then that would carry 400 calories, and that meal came from carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are a really excellent and readily available energy source. Let's see, it's important in the preservation of muscle. It helps you regulate your blood sugar, and it's very important. Lots of sources of carbohydrates also have fiber in them, and so that can aid in digestion. How can you incorporate carbohydrates in your meals or in the way you're eating? Some sources that are just straight carbohydrates that people don't really think about would be simple carbohydrates, such as syrups, honey, sweets, lots of things like that are carbohydrates. Also, carbohydrates are oats, breads, pastas, potatoes, beans and legumes, like I mentioned, they have protein, but they also have carbohydrates in them. Quinoa, sprouted grains, tortillas, rice, all carbohydrates. So that's just a baseline knowledge. We'll go into more in depth, like how to incorporate more fiber with the carbohydrates, or different types of them. But all 3 macros are very important to incorporate in your diet and in your meal plan. But finding that perfect balance and making sure that you understand why each macronutrient is important to your well-being is very important. So I want to make sure you had a good baseline understanding on that. We'll move forward from here, but thank you for working with me, and I'm so excited for you, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks.